So hi everyone. Today I have with me Brent Boatman, and we've interviewed him in the past, but we wanted to get a little more information about what Brent is all about. So I've invited Brent to be here with us today to talk a little bit more about UFOs and how we connect the UFO and spirituality together. So Brent, how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to share this information with you and spread the love.
So we want to know, what is your connection to the UFOs or to the ET connections?
Well, it goes down deep. It's a vibrational thing that I've acquired through meditation. I've learned that through hundreds, if not thousands of hours of meditation, I've been able to touch a force field. I call it eternity, that is the same vibration as they are. And that's what I do, and that's how I call them through the meditation. I will chime into that space and set out my intent. And my frequency has become quite well known with them. And so they're very, put it this way, they don't let me down. When I set out my intent, sometimes I wonder if they're, more than likely this is the case, it's them wanting me to set out the intent. Because I listen to their message and I follow their wishes and I follow their advices. Meditation is just another way of getting it more clear.
So is that information that they've given you on how to call them in, or is this just something that you've picked up just through your journey, knowing how to connect? I mean, did it just come naturally for you? Or in meditation, did you receive information that told you how to connect?
Well, I started to think it was that way. But as time went on, I realized that I was designed. And I came here with this ability. And there were markers through my life that were put there to help me uncover it and to re-link up to my star family and to stay in communication with them to help extract the frequency of light and love and abundance down to earth, to help show people their purpose and to link them together, them and earth, to link them together. And that was that is my main role, my main mission, is to link humanity to them.
And how did you come into this information knowing that this was your purpose and how you were designed to come down here to do this?
Well, I've always had a strong inclination through my experiences and the clarity and the information I received. But when I had a QHHT session, each time I was regressed into another dimension. I can see the strands of my life here and my life up there connect, and the pattern was always the same, and the connection was always the same, and that really helped me reaffirm my sense of purpose and my internal desire that has been just always there inside of me, going, hey, that's what I am here. I'm doing the same thing up there as I'm doing here.
That's one thing I found when we did your regression that I thought was so unique. And it's really interesting because I've had a session after your session that the same person he was designed to come down here and be the gatherer of a different frequency of different people. And I thought it was so ironic that those two sessions, your session and that session, both came up, right, within a couple of weeks of each other. And then to be told that you were designed for this purpose, that was very, very unique. So I loved hearing that.
Yes, I remember that aspect of our questioning when you asked, what percentage of your spirit,
Of your soul.
of my soul,
Yeah.
you know, you remember better
Yeah,
than me.
yeah.
And I said, no, no, it doesn't work that way for me.
Yeah, which is really unusual because all of the people that I've, regressed to that point had all had a percentage, except for when I got to yours. It was like, no, that's different. So that was kind of unique. I loved it, though.
Yeah, I kind of argue the point. It wasn't a percentage of me, as like, because the feeling I got was I can become all here on earth or all that up above. There was ebb and flow that was continuous. It didn't change. I mean, it changed. I'm sorry. It can change upon need.
Yeah.
Like I can expand and contract. I can be a lot of spirit or a little spirit, wherever I'm needed the most. And the ET aspect of it is when I sleep and I go into dream state, I'm needed the most up there.
Right. So you're able to take most of it back up there. So that was beautiful. Yeah.
And I bring it back. I'll go to school. I consider sleep school. And I'll go to school at night, and I think I shared with you that one story about I was loading a cargo ship or something, and I was speaking in light language, and they said, oh, Brent, not Brent, they said, you've got to go.
Right.
And I go, yeah, I know, I got to return back to my body. And they were sad, and I said, yeah, I'll catch you guys, I'll catch you later. And I said, I am speaking in the star language, and when I wake up, I am going to, I was pre-programming myself to continue to speak in star language. And so the transition from speaking in the spiritual plane to all of a sudden going into a body and having to activate my vocal cords, which I did, and I woke up speaking star language in my room, and I just kept it going. It was fun, and I realized it's the same language that I've been speaking to my dog for 14 years.
Yeah, and even in your regression session, we found out, no, it was in Pristine Council, we found out that your dog is an implant. And
Yeah.
your dog is here it kind of is the eyes for your journey, so to kind of keep track of you and help you. I thought that was really interesting too.
Yeah, she's not really a dog. She doesn't do dog things.
Yeah, very interesting, the information we got on that. So.
Yeah, it was really, every time, if you haven't had a session, I strongly encourage you, especially if you feel you've had a UFO encounter. I think one of the biggest problems for people is they are not sure if they've had an encounter or not. And I love speaking to people like that because I can point out the difference of a dream and a dream with an encounter and help circle the wagon. And that really, I love to watch people get ignited by that, going, yeah, wow, I understand now. And just see people fire up and get on their journey even more. That's my purpose. And the UFOs, they play a big part of it. If I'm going to be doing classes on meeting your star family, and one of the nicest things is to watch people go out in a group. And like when I took Shay out, and we called upon them, and they came out and said hi. To watch them light up and feel the electricity from the ship, and feel the bond, and feel all those things, and how they actually will totally correspond and act up there in the heavens to the speech and the things we're talking about down here. Like the one time that one was hiding in front of a star.
Yeah.
And
that was really interesting.
And I was telling people, I said, they will hide right in plain sight. There's a star up there, and I'll go, they'll park right in front of it, and you can't see it because it's all backlit. And they'll hide there, and then they'll just come out. And as I said that, a ship came out right there in front of all of us from that star. Like it was, we were in unison, we were one. The speech and the actions were connected. And it's that way for a lot of humans. And I like to encourage people to link up and to learn that, because it can really help you.
And so why is it that they come around you? Like when we went out, you were able to call on them and then they come around. And then when we met with the Pristine Council told us that there is no worries, because wherever you are, you're sending out a beacon of light and they're always with you. So why is it that you have that privilege and honor of having them come around you, and the rest of us haven't made that connection yet?
I think it's just because of meditation and discipline. Discipline is the amount of time I spend removing my physical body and meditating. And that's how I first found them. That's how I first found them, was when my great teacher told me that if you want to contact them, you meditate. And I'm sharing this information for you, and you can test the theory. And I want to hear from you.
So how do you meditate?
Well, I just would get real quiet, very quiet, and watch my thoughts. And this is taking years to do it, and I don't expect you to do it overnight, but you work up for it, and you separate your conscious mind from all the noise, all the static, the daily lives, the bills, the job, the wife, the relationship. You separate yourself. And as you climb up and up and up in consciousness, there becomes less and less noise, to eventually, there's like a little door that opens up, and your higher self, and you step into silence, and you can sit there in silence, and you can extract the particles from the universe that are really beneficial for you. They're like little electrons or things you can extract that can help you in your spirit and bring them back into your body. But once you're up there in that room, that is the frequency that they hear. That is the frequency that they vibrate with. And they go, ho ho, here's one, just rose up through the clouds. And by doing this, it's what allowed me to have the steady frequency for wherever I go. They're there because I carry that frequency with me. I live for that. That is what I do. I live for that on a daily basis. Everybody else has their own hobbies and things they want to do and things they do, but this is where I've chosen to put my life energies and my life forces on bonding with them and being with them, and they know it. They said it during that one session. Oh boy, here comes Brent. He's outside the ship. He's asking for permission to come in, and they're like, "We know how he can get in here. Come on in." You know. How fun.
Yeah. So how do you communicate, or how do you receive information from them?
Well, telepathically.
Okay. And so are you always open? I mean, how do you know when they're giving you information?
Well, there's that part of my brain, or we'll say of my consciousness, that is there, that I always work out like weights in my muscle up there, and I always keep it alive, that they will send a message to that spot inside of my consciousness, and I will just like, whoa, I'm receiving a download, I'm receiving information. And then I'll know it, and I'll just be quiet, let it play out, and get the knowledge.
And so, like, do you have to listen to, you know, for the telepathic message to come through? You always have to be in a quiet space? I mean, is that how you hear them?
Well, it's kind of like, I know they can manipulate your thoughts, and they can get you to do things. As for instance, a lot of situations. Let me just think of one real quick, where I saw a ship, and I said, "Oh, okay." I leaned forward and I go, "I want to hear what's the message here." And they said, "This is meant for you to see." I just knew instinctively what to do. I knew what to do. Oh, this is meant for you to see. I'm just very receptive. I've always been receptive for the clarion call, for all those things. I've always
What's the clarion call?
That was the call that was put out on the universe when the Earth was in trouble. My mom called it the clarion call.
Okay, I just never had heard the term.
Dolores calls it the first wave. People hear the call. Earth is in trouble. Who wants to come here? Right. And so the call went out, and I was just like, I've always been very, very, susceptible to hearing those things. They're not. You hear them with your spiritual ear. Right. You hear them.
Well, and the reason I ask that question is because a lot of times I think people think that they're going to go out there, and when they hear something, they're going to hear it verbally.
No.
Like we speak. So I wanted to have clarity on that, just so that people know that this is not coming verbally. You know, it's telepathically. It's sometimes a knowing. It depends on what your receiver is for your sensory perception.
Well, it's almost, you can compare it to a mother's intuition over the child's skinned its knee, or something happened, and intuitively they know something's going on, and they could just go, I know it, I know it, I know. That's what it is. And so I put it in the classification of, it's, you know that you know. Yeah. That you know, like, I mean, when I was 21, I would receive information about the history of the Earth, and I was like, this is, I know that I know. I know this stuff. This is not...
Well, and we all know this stuff. We've all forgotten. Yeah. And that's where we are now in the knowing coming about. The awakening is are remembering all the stuff that we know, that we've forgotten about. So that's great. So I do want to ask you about dream state. You mentioned it earlier. So let's talk about dream state a little bit and how we get communication through dream state.
Sure. Well, when you dream, basically you're recharging your body. If you think about it, your spirit, your soul, it never sleeps. You're just laying your body down, and you drift off. You take the silver cord with you, and you go off into the universe. Now, you can compare that to death almost. You know, it's just you haven't gone all the way through. You're in another dimension, and in that state, dream state, is where you can go to school, and it's where you can gather higher knowledge. The issue is, for a lot of people, is when they come back to their body and they wake up, it's all forgotten. That's why in the morning when I wake up, I walk outside 4:35 straight to the sunrise, and I meditate, and I will recall and replay all the events that have happened the night before. What message was there? What information is there? What do I need to know for my role here on Earth? Because a lot of times there's information here for me to share with you.
Yeah, and the world.
Or you, yeah.
And the world.
And bring it. So far it's been very beneficial, and it has not ever faulted me. You know? So
now I know that you're new here to Vegas, but you've put in some ways for people to get a hold of you. You put up a new Meetup group. So we want to make sure that, you know, people want to join and do some sky watching and get, you know, information that you're going to be teaching classes soon. So they can go to your website, or they're able to go to your meetup group. And what was your meetup group called?
I called that a City of Las Vegas.
Okay.
It's an acronym that other people use, and I really believe in it. It stands for Enlightened Contact with Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And that's exactly what we do. If you think about it, we meditate, we achieve enlightenment, we make contact with their intelligence. And so it's ECETI of Las Vegas. I'll go to Meetup, join the group if you feel inclined to. I hope you do. And I put on meetups and sky watches and take people out. And actually, I don't think there's been a time where we haven't seen anything less than 20 UFOs.
Yeah, and then I know we went out a couple of nights ago and the moon was really, really bright. So we learned from that night that we really want to pick a night when the moon is dark.
Yeah.
So watch the meetup group for the dates, because that will be changing periodically. We were going to do it the second Tuesday of every month.
That's right.
But because of the moon cycles, we decided to change it that way. So just watch and go to the meetup group.
Yeah, it's. We still saw plenty of UFOs. It's just not as intense. There was one that came out and really lit up over our heads.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing to see that too.
Yeah, it burned like a welding rod. It was real bright.
Yeah, and it's like as soon as we got everybody's attention to see it, then it dimmed out.
Yeah.
So, but it was really pretty amazing, pretty bright.
And there was a message in it. There, a lot of people were talking and, getting off on their own little conversations, and they come over and they go, "Hey, are you here to see us?" Focus. I've noticed that there's the event during those meetups, like they'll come out when everybody's focused, but as soon as everybody else starts chattering, they don't come out as much.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, they kind of like their respect.
Yeah.
And I feel honored that they come out.
Yeah, and they are. And through the Christine Council, we've been told that you are a magnet. So they're going to be wherever you are anyway. So I think it's really great. Plus, recently you found out that we are on a ley line here in Las Vegas, right? So the activity here is a lot more prevalent than it would be in other areas or other locations.
Right, yeah, and this runs all the way across the United States, Colorado, and there's a lot of activity here. That does help, but I do notice that in some cases I notice other people, I've watched them and observed them, depending on their vibration, wherever they go, they're there. They follow. They could go where there's not a ley line, and there'll be 85 ships around them, and somebody else will be there that doesn't have the same frequency or the vibration, and there'll be 3. It all depends on your signal, your beacon, and what you represent, what you are, and who you are. I just, my goal is to encourage everybody to become that frequency.
And that is our role, that we have been told that we are here to help people raise their frequency. And also, through the QHHT, we're able to connect people with their star families. So you had a pretty exciting session with someone. So do you want to share that experience at all?
Yes, it was the person that I called her up and I said, "Hey, let's go out and UFO watch. That way when I give you a session the next day, we can ask if you were the one that we saw the night before." But that didn't happen. So we didn't get together and go out and look. But she came over for her session the next night. And during the session, she was actually linked to ETs to heal her. And she described it very clear, and they're bright beings, and they're very nice, and they're taking me up, and I'm laying down, and they're working on my legs, and she goes through it play by play, and they're raising me up into their ship. This light is pulling me up, and I'm going up into the ship, and I'm in I'm on this table, and there's colors everywhere, and it's so beautiful. And are you safe? Yes, yes. They're very nice. They're very kind. And she was really loving the experience. So I asked them, are you the ones that we saw the night before? Knowing we didn't see any. And it was silence. She didn't answer. Because they knew I was trying to trip them up.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of devilish a little bit.
Yeah, you are a little devil, aren't you?
Yeah. So anyhow, she had a wonderful experience. She bonded with her star family. She just has been elated and happy about that ever since. And I love seeing that when people have a session and they actually link up to their star family, or they lay there and they're just like, tears of joy roll down their face.
Yeah.
I'm home. I'm home.
Yeah,
I had a
that is so
70-year-old man lay there and just cry with joy.
Yeah, because it's so much love. You feel so much love when they're there.
And he was, you see, he was so tired, his physical body, and he was so happy to be home. That I just let him lay there and just recharge himself and get that feeling and bring it back. And, you know, it really encouraged him because his life has been a struggle. It hasn't been easy. And that just really let him know and reaffirm him that there's something else out there that he is looking forward to.
Yeah, I love it. And that's why we love to do the work that we do, because, you know, Brent has the connection. We love to go out, make those connections, and then anyone who's interested in connecting deeper than that, we obviously can do a session for them and get them in for a QHHT, see if we can make those connections. So.
Yes, yeah. I will be doing, I'm putting together, Shay and I are putting together some artwork of my experiences. And I'm going to be getting some very good night vision. And I want to help people to understand, if you've had an experience, and thread it all together for you and take you out there and let you look at the ships really close up and feel that feeling that you feel when you actually bond with one. And it's not hard to explain, but the feeling of the electricity that comes off that ship when you are reconnected with your star family is one you will never ever forget. It's almost, you can compare it to having a child for the first time. Your life is never the same since. And that's the same feeling you get when you see your star family. And you realize that the struggles you've had in your life are just so petty compared to the blessings that are up there.
Mm-hmm. So what is their message to us then?
Well, they really want us to live a very harmonious, high, vibrant life and learn to animate light. I mean, I believe God's original goal for Earth is to, we're a negative planet, we take from the sun, right? We don't radiate light. We take. Most of the other, you look out into the galaxy, most of all the other planets are stars, or they animate light. And God wants to see Earth do the same thing. And us as human beings, if we learn to become enlightened, eventually in millions of years from now, we can be in a very enlightened, positive planet. And that ultimately is the goal, is to become a bright star. And so their message is, hey, be happy, be bright, be cheery, be nice, be loving. If you look back through history of any time there's been conflict or war, the UFOs have always been there in the background, in the sky. Civil War, Egypt, battles, they're always there. And even in Iraq, I heard some of the soldiers came back and they said they hang out in the sky as if to say, what are you doing? why are you doing this? It doesn't make sense. Why are you doing this? And that's them actually picking up on their telepathic communication.
Is there any last message you want to leave for us before we end the session today?
Well, I really believe the most important thing you can do in this life is meditate and get peaceful, because that will lead you automatically into a better situation. And I encourage you to be quiet, calm down, meditate, and just observe how things in your life change. That's it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Brent, for taking the time to be here today and talk about all your knowledge and information that you have with us to share.
Yeah,
So,
you're
thank
welcome.
you.
I appreciate it.
Namaste, my friend. I love
Namaste. I love you too.
you. You're great. Thank you.